Hello and welcome to my experimental deck breakdown series. This is a series where I will share with you a deck that I am currently building and experimenting with, but I haven't fully finished it. Like, the deck isn't ready for prime time. It's good, I tested it a bit, but it isn't ready for prime time. It is either missing something that I can't see, or it is missing support that doesn't exist yet. But in this series, I will give you the idea behind the deck. I will give you the full list. I will tell you what I was thinking, why I chose each card. And the hope is that can either finish this deck or get an idea for a deck for yourself through these series, because sometimes I come up with some really wacky builds. And today I present to you my favorite deck so far, even though I don't play in any major tournaments yet. And the deck is basically it's supposed to be a command based deck, so you got things like aerial rebuild, but the true focus of this deck, or why I built it, was for close combat. Close combat is one of my favorite cards because it just says, for a command card in the main or action phase, deal 2 damage to an enemy unit. So and the unit doesn't have to be rested. So basically, the way I say it is, no unit is safe. You can't be like, I'm going to leave my unit active and it's safe. AKA the Zoar killer. I think I got Zoar in this deck too. Close combat is basically the law of equivalent exchange. They play a Zoar and you play close combat. Y'all paid the same cost, it was the same level, and y'all traded cards. So to me, this is the same as if I traded an attack with another card on the field. So this is the Zoar killer, but I just like the idea of the command cards that can deal damage to active units. So the idea started by building what people will call a ping deck. I tried Merida, but I didn't get that to work at first. So I ended up pivoting more to like commands and the aerial rebuild. So you got like this command, Xeon Remnant Forces. I doubt anybody does play this, but I do, because things like Battle of Aces now. Battle of Aces does choose one damage enemy unit, deal 3 damage to it. Battle of Ages I don't think is that good outside of ping decks, but because I don't have like the Merida and stuff to be pinging constantly, I needed a way sometimes to just damage something, and that is where Xeon Remnant Forces come in. It's basically close combat for 1 cost less, and it does half the damage. Choose 1 enemy unit, deal 1 damage to it. So for 3 resources, you can deal 4 damage with the 2 of these. It's not an ideal combo, it's not something that you should be relying on, but just know that it exists in this deck. So you could play the 2 of these as a combo, or you could mix it up. You can mix and match any of these 3 commands. But the point is, you could deal damage to stuff. And with those 3 commands, I went with the aerial rebuild because I like Suletta in the game. I like the idea of Suletta being able to restand 1 resource. Suletta, she can restand 1 resource every time she attacks with anything, so I like that idea. So I just added the aerial rebuild. So at level 6, for cost 5, you can pair Suletta. Play this, link Suletta, and you could take back any of your command cards. And the command cards didn't stop at just damage. We also have Unforeseen Incident, which can be a surprise, or if they still take it back from trash, they have to think twice about attacking you with something that they know can't trade well. Because Suletta probably restand the 1 resource you need to play this, right? And then, when you need more cards, you can also pull back Overflowing Affection. So I think that's 15 command cards in all, which is quite a lot, to be honest, for any deck. And the idea is to get aerial rebuild to pull them back. Because we're playing so many commands, we also play Michaelis. I didn't like Michaelis. I didn't like this card at first because you need to have 4 commands in your trash. And sometimes you may play a game and you don't ever get to 4 commands in trash because of how you draw a rev or whatever. But when you got those 4 commands in trash, this get +1 AP and +1 HP. And a 4/4 for 2 resources is really strong. And even if you don't get it, if you don't get the extra 1/1 for 2 resources, you get a 3/3, and you could link Suletta with this, and it becomes a 4/5. Or if you actually have the commands in trash, it will become a 5/6, which is really strong for 2 resources. Well, 2 and 1 for the pilot is a really strong combination. And the other pilot we are running is Atherin. Atherin is not that good because his effect only works when linked, but his stats are 1 AP and 2 HP. And that is coming handy sometimes. Sometimes you just want to be a little more tanky and you don't really need the offense. So that's why he played Atherin. But when he linked, he can attack active units, and that does come in handy. I wish it was a Vampire effect, or when he could do it every turn, but we can't keep imagining what we want. What it is on the first turn he's linked, you can attack an active level 5 or lower unit. And that is coming handy with his MA mode that everybody should know. This got Breach 3, this is just really an Atherin link. But you can also link Suletta and it still become a 4-6, which is quite strong for a unit with Breach. And every time you attack, you get Breach 3. Not the best Breach, but it does come in handy. We're playing 2 of these. These do ping damage. This and Atherin does pair well with the command cards. And as you can see, all of them is Atherin anyways, I think. But this is still a bad card. It's become a 5-5 with Atherin, or a 5-5 if you pair Suletta. Which either does work, because once this has 5 AP, it can deal 3 damage to a unit that is level 5 or higher. And I think that's the problem, because it only hit level 5 or higher units. The effect don't come in often enough that it works well. While this is one of the few units that with a pilot can trade evenly with a wing Gundam, it still don't make it that good. Like, so I only run it at 2 just for the once in a while ping damage. And if you do get the ping damage off, you can, and they got more HP, you can still do a close combat, a battle of aces, Zeon Remnant Forces. Like, the combo or the idea of the combo is good, it just don't work as you would like. And then because we're running Atherin and we're running white, we play the Justice Gundam. This is a card that really so good on paper, but when you play it's never feel that strong. Like, the idea that you get 2 attacks when you link on the same turn, which would be a 6 and a 2, like, this should be a great game finisher. But for some reason, it just doesn't ever finish games. And then having a 2 HP blocker if you don't decide to finish the game just hardly ever really save you. So like, as a finisher, it's fine that Justice Gundam, it reads cracked, but it just doesn't live up to what it should be doing. And I can't quite tell why that is, but I still believe in it. And I think maybe the problem is just that Atherin is not that good of a pilot overall. Like, if he could do his effect every turn, or do his effect with any link, any pair, probably Justice would be more valuable. But maybe for now we just gotta wait and see. I still trying it. Like I say, I didn't like the deck. And then the other cards in the deck is just like support. We got Dari Blade for, like, if you're playing against the Rashwini decks and you got a token of 1 HP, this could get rid of them. And in a pinch, this can link with Suletta and rushing for a 5 with 4 HP, which is not bad. I talked about Michaelis already. Everybody should know what rebuilders do. You pair it with any pilot. It does not have to be a link. And you could pull 1 command from your trash. This does come in handy. But you just get to pull a thing, and it does come in handy, but it kind of like Justice. It reads like it should be broken, but it's just not that strong in the late game compared to like the other character cards like Wing Gundam Zero or the Freedom Gundam or whatever. And that's part of the problem. For the bases, I playing 4 Rilula, which is on deploy, it just deal 1 damage to any enemy unit that is level, or that has 5 or less AP. So as long as they got 5 or less attack power, this will ping them for 1 damage. And that's coming handy too with your rest of commands. Like, you can also play this and play one of the commands to do some damage, or maybe say I got 1 HP left and it got less than 5 attack. The reruler come out your shield area and save you, or you play. The only problem with this is that it costs 2 resources, and I think that's a little too high. So that's don't make it that good. It costs 2 resources to play this, and I don't always like that. That's feel expensive. Then I got 2 bases here, the 6 HP base. These are just to short my base count. I like to play like 6 bases almost all the time. So there's 4 and there's 2 6. You can play with that ratio, but that's just me. And then for the last card, it's just Zoar. I got 3 Zoars because the early game, Now we see you got into close combat on level 2. You could just drop a Zord if you have it in your hand. And I think that's it about that's the full deck list I just went through. The issue I'm having with the deck right now is that it isn't closing out games properly. It's control the early game, good, and the mid game, and then but your ending card, your big boys are Justice and Aerial Rebuild. And even during a pair like this has become a 6-6, this has become a 6-7, right? And but none of the two of them don't seem to do enough impact to win you the game. When you go in against things like Freedom or a 8 attack, 9 HP wing Gundam 0, like the two of these don't do enough to make up that big difference in end game boss monsters. And I think that's the problem the deck having right now. Like it ain't not closing out games fast enough, and once you reach the late game, which this is not a ramp deck, so everybody reaching the late game around the same time, it just not closing out the games, and I haven't been able to solve that yet. So that's why I haven't brought this deck to like any big tournaments yet. I'm still testing it, but testing slow because I've been mostly working on my green white wing Gundam deck, because I think that can help me win something and get some boxes. So that's why it's played the most. But this is a deck that I want to work and I believe in it, but it's just not there yet. And I think that's the only weakness I have right now for it, like it not closing out games. So let me switch over and show you some other versions I come up with. This version 1, this was the main version, and the cheaper version, I had actually start using a version with Merida. So what I did with this one is I cut all the Atherin stuff. So anything that's linked with Atherin and Atherin himself, I cut those, because them ain't really giving me what I want. Those were just cards I inserted, and I actually added back Merida. So I added like the 4 Kshatriya, both the baby and the big Kshatriya, and we add 4 Merida. These just do ping damage, especially the big one, and it does help with your commands, but I still not sure if it closing out the game. I add 1 Kigali. That is so you can make Michaelis a blocker or Aerial Rebuild a blocker. And that's just a tech card. I don't know if it can stay. It's just something I added at the time. And I added 1 Full Frontal Saints Kshatriya. During period is deal 1-on-1 damage. You don't get full frontal, the rest of full frontal effect, unless you got the baby Kshatriya in hand. But I just add 1 because at worst he's still a 2/2 stat card, just like Banner Lynx. So at worst, at least you got a 2/2 stat card. You can add 2/2 to any of your units, and like say you put him on Michaelis and you got 4 commands in trash, this become a 6/6. So it's just another tech card I add in. This version I haven't tested as much as the Atherin version, but I've tested it a bit and it's still doing well, but I think the problem is still closing out. Shamblo is just a fun add card. You could also cut this if you wanted to. I just add it because I had the link with Merida or Full Frontal, and I thought it'd be funny if it ever worked, so I add this in. So you can see that I ain't take this that fully serious yet, but I think something is here. And then there is one more version I had. This one I have not tested at all. I just made this right before the video because I truly believe adding Kira and the Freedom and Strike package does make any deck stronger. So with this one, I cut Atherin and I cut the Merida cards, and I just added Kira and things that Kira can use. And I added 2 more command cards, which is the Striker pack. So with this version, I have done no testing whatsoever. I could tell you that. But I just know that once you add Kira and Strike and Freedom, you have a very strong... You can power up any package because Kira is he's just that guy. And the Strike package is like one of the fully formed packages, so you could pull off a lot of stuff just by adding Kira. And I think I still keep the 1 Kigali, so you could turn this Strike Gundam into a blocker, or the same Michaelis or Daribald, whichever one you want. Like I still think it's a nice tech card, but this one I have yet to test. I don't know when I can get time to test it, so maybe you can test it and report back to me. But this is the last version of the list that I would try. The thing is, I personally don't like using Kira, but I am not stupid. I want to win, and I know that Kira is one of the best cards in the game. So this is the final version I have of the list. This one, remember, I have not tested it, but it's there. You could try it. See if you like it. Report back to me if you got any good results, if you got anything similar that working, and we can talk in the next video. Until then.